Well, right now we're talking about, getting the cloud native databases accelerate digital intelligence. And we've got a tech talk which is coming up on that. I'd request the audience to please use the Q&A tab to post your questions during the session. It will be picked up and answered by the speaker at the end of the session if time allows. Well, we have with us our speaker, Dr. Fei Fei Li, the Vice President, Alibaba Group, President, Database Products Business Unit, Alibaba Cloud Intelligence. Well, Dr. Fei Fei Li is currently with the Alibaba Group, ACM Distinguished Scientist, President of the Database Products Business Unit of Alibaba Cloud Intelligence, and also a Director of the Database and Storage Lab of the Damo Academy. Well, Dr. Fei Fei Li has won multiple awards from ACM and IEEE and led the R&D efforts of cloud native database systems and products at Alibaba. So ladies and gentlemen, now it is time to welcome on the screen Dr. Fei Fei Li. Thank you so much for joining us on the World Cloud Show. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for the nice introduction. And thank you everyone for taking time out to attend this online session. It's my great honor to have this opportunity to share with you my experience and my view on the cloud native database systems and how the field is quickly evolving. So without further ado, please allow me to bring up my slides, and I will go through the slides, and I'm more than happy to answer any question you may have, either during the talk or after the talk in the Q&A session. Could you please help me launch the slide? Okay. Do you need to share screen with them? Yes. Yeah. So can all the folks online view my slides now? If you can, give me a thumb up or say yes if your mic is not mute. Okay, I got a thumb up. Okay, great. Can you help me? Okay, let me hide the panel. Okay, great. So my talk today is to share with you briefly how cloud native database accelerate digital intelligence. So let me first give you an overview. So from our observations, by observing what business within Alibaba Group as well as customer on Alibaba Cloud, the trend in the industry is clear. That trend is moving to the cloud. Started with internet companies, they're the first goers of embracing the cloud solution, typically followed by government institutions, and then traditional industry from, for example, manufacturing industry, and then all the way to the traditional finance sector. Companies from all these different sectors, they are moving to the cloud. Of course, the pace and the timeline and the particular time frame they choose to move the cloud differ from one company to another and differ from industry to industry, but the general trend is there. And from those vast majority of moving to the cloud, we have identified a critical keyword that's cloud native. What do I mean by cloud native? Being cloud native refer to one or multiple of the followings. One is your solution has to be elastic. You have to offer extreme or excellent elasticity to accommodate the fluctuation in business workloads, and it has to be cost efficient. And oftentimes companies are also looking for hybrid cloud or multi-cloud solution so that they don't get locked in by one cloud vendor. And from a data processing point of view, we increasingly see the needs for what we call multi-model data processing, meaning data are increasingly heterogeneous. We need to deal with data from different data formats, different data structures, different semantics, and oftentimes data management and data analytics in those scenarios, as well as the management and orchestration of the cloud resources has to be intelligent. So combining these trends, our vision for cloud native database is the following. First of all, at the core of our solution is being cloud native and being distributed to fully leverage the pool of resources that cloud has to offer. And then on top of that, we want our system to be elastic, to be secure, to be reliable, and we want our system to be able to process multi-model data and to do H-type, hybrid transaction and analytical processing in one system. And furthermore, we want our system to be intelligence-driven, self-driving, kind of like a self-driving car, so that when customers are using a cloud-native database solution, their administration effort is minimized. And finally, we want our solution to be able to support hybrid and multi-cloud deployment. So let me dive into cloud-native architecture with more details. Traditional database system is what you see on this screen to the very left, where resources are tightly coupled together. In this particular picture, the DB box refers to CPU and memory combined. So in the traditional setup, resources, including storage, CPU, memory, are tightly coupled together. And the downside of this deployment is that it's very difficult for business applications to do scale out in the case when your business workload spike up. At the same time, it's also very difficult to scale back down. And you really need to pre-calculate how much resources you need for the peak time of your business workloads, which is very costly and expensive to maintain, and many other issues involved. In a cloud-native design, first of all, let's understand cloud a little bit better. At the core of cloud computing, the idea is to use virtualization techniques, such as using Docker, container, or even virtual machines to virtualize hardware resources and organize this vast amount of hardware resources into a pool of resources. So leveraging that core principle of cloud computing, cloud-native database system, the core idea is to make the storage resources into a pool of storage. We call that shared storage. And then make our compute node a pool of computation node as well. We call that a pool of compute node. And then we decouple, we introduce a disaggregation of compute and the storage so that business application can now scale up and scale out storage and compute independent from each other. This offers excellent elasticity, at the same time ensure high availability by that shared distributed storage. And our core product, flagship product, PolarDB, is using this particular design. And then another dimension is being able to do horizontal scaling out using a distributed architecture, such as using a share nothing sharding solution, as you see from the very right of this picture. So that's essentially the landscape of database system today in terms of the key architecture. But one thing I want to mention for distributed architecture to the very left is it has excellent scaling out capability in terms of horizontal scale out. But at the same time, as you scale out horizontally, it introduces complexity in terms of distributed transaction processing and the distributed query processing. So here is an overview of our cloud-native database portfolio you can find on Alibaba Cloud. From online transaction processing system featured with PolarDB and its distributed version PolarDBX, to our online analytical processing data warehouse solution Analytics DB, and our data lake solution Data Lake Analytics, all the way to our NoSQL solution designed for handle large amount of unstructured and semi-structured data. And then we have a rich set of tools to help our users better leverage our core products, such as data transmission service for data synchronization and the transmission, database application migration, ADM, and data management service, DMS, and database backup service, DBS. At the bottom is our cloud-native database platform service using Kubernetes. And here we also use a lot of machine learning and AI technologies, and we call that DAS, Database Autonomy Service, to enable our platform to be self-driving. We also have a solution called MyBase that kind of, you can understand this as having a private cloud deployment in a public cloud platform, meaning that you enjoy all the benefits our platform has to offer, but at the same time, you have almost the same full control as if you are doing this in your own IDC. in an on-premise setup. In terms of market execution, we are #1 in Asia Pacific in cloud database revenue. This is by Gartner, and we are 3rd worldwide. And in China, we are clearly market leader. We are #1 in the in Asia IaaS market and in Indonesia IaaS market as well. And in terms of in Indonesia, in Indonesia, we launched a 2nd data center back in January 2019. We first entered Indonesian market in 2018, and we plan to launch another data center next year by 2021. We are clearly a leader in the Indonesian market. Now, let me dive into the details of some of our core products. Let me first start with PolarDB. As I mentioned in the few slides back, CloudDB leveraged this cloud-native design by using RDMA to build a distributed shared storage engine and then decouple storage from computation. And this, as you see, is 100% cloud-native design. It enables a couple of things. First of all, it has excellent elasticity in terms of both storage and in terms of both computation nodes. Currently, we are able to support up to 16 compute nodes. One is for read and write, the other are for read-only processing. And then in our storage node, we use distributed consensus protocol, such as a modified and improved Raft protocol to ensure your data is highly available, 3-way replicated among the physical storage node, even though they appear as a single shared storage node to the kernel. And then at the application layer, we have what we call Polar Proxy that does a lot of things, such as load balancing, dispatch and write and read-only transaction to the right node, and a lot of security features built in. PolarDB is 100% compatible with different versions of MySQL. In fact, we are the first one among all cloud vendors to offer PolarDB that's fully compatible with MySQL 8.0. We also have a version that's fully compatible with PostgreSQL, and we have another version that's highly compatible with Oracle. So as you see, we can cater for different business scenarios and different business application needs. In terms of elasticity, we can elastically allocate a new compute node in just a few minutes. And we can do auto scaling in the storage node up to 100 terabytes for a single instance. And our performance is way better than the standard MySQL and other major database products out there. And we are also releasing a new product called PolarDBX, which is the distributed version of PolarDB that combines cloud-native design, as you see from last slide, as well as the share nothing distributed layer together. So this gives you the best of both. You can get horizontal scaling out to support, in the extreme case, extremely highly concurrent transaction processing, as well as highly concurrent read and write processing using this share nothing distributed layer. But at the same time, each shard is served using a cloud-native PolarDB instance. Because of this design, for the same amount of transactions and concurrency needs, compared to the traditional distributed solution, we need much less number of shards, because each shard, each PolarDB instance can do much more than a traditional single node instance. That dramatically reduces the complexity of distributed processing as well. We have also introduced another important feature for PolarDB, what we call global database. In short, what we are doing here is to deploy PolarDB instances across different AZs. You could have one at Indonesia, one running at Silicon Valley, and another one running on our data center in Shanghai. And the Indonesia instance is responsible for both write and read, and the other two instances are read-only read-only instances. However, data synchronization is taken care of underlying by our system automatically. So you don't have to worry about data consistency across those 3 different AZs. This allows your application to read from a local instance rather than going a round trip that may introduce significant network delay. So this dramatically improves performance because of the locality. At the same time, it ensures RPO equal to 0 and give you 99.99 high availability. And next, let me move on to our analytics solutions. So transaction processing is a core requirement for business needs, but so does analytics. So in this space, we offer our cloud-native data warehouse and cloud-native data analytics solution using two critical products. One is called Analytic DB, in short ADB. The other is Data Lake Analytic, in short DLA. The idea, I will introduce these two in more details in later slides, but the core idea is to offer you a rich and a complete data analytics solution to satisfy all your computation and analytic needs, from offline ETL to online interactive analytics to support different BI needs. And together with our rich data management, data synchronization tools such as DTS, DMS, DataFin, DataWorks, this gives you a full collection of big data solution, as well as data cleaning, data integration, data modeling, interactive offline ETL analytic solutions. Let's first look at ADB, Analytic DB. It comes with two versions. One is fully compatible with MySQL. The idea is to do big data analytics in a database setting. So what do I mean by that? First of all, by being database, ADB supports real-time CURD, creation, update, read, and delete, meaning that you can do a real-time insert, delete, update, select while you are doing complex analytics over this same copy of data, so that your analytical results are obtained from the latest version of your data. And it's cloud native by decoupling compute and storage, just as PolarDB does. It has rich BI tools and a rich ecosystem because it's fully compatible with MySQL. And it has rich analytical and computation scenario support capability, from offline batch processing to online real-time interactive analytics, all in one system. And at the same time, it has a RAF protocol to ensure your data is highly available. It has many enterprise class features such as backup, flashback, auditing, and so on and so forth. And we are currently has the top performance rank on TPC-DS, which is a well-known standard benchmark for measuring complex analytical systems. Next, we are going to talk about the ADB for PG version, for PostgreSQL version. This is fully compatible with PG and fully compatible with Greenplum and highly compatible with Teradata and Oracle RAC. So this is perfect for migrating from a traditional data warehouse to a cloud-native data warehouse. And it has HTAP capability, meaning that it's able to process OLTP and OLAP mixed workloads in a single system. It has multi-model support, as I mentioned before, support a variety of different data formats, and it's featured with a cloud-native design as well. Next, let me briefly talk about the data lake solution. Data lake basically means that you are able to connect to a heterogeneous data sources, ranging from database to NoSQL database to big data file system and to raw file system and to streaming solutions. And our Data Lake Analytics DLA is able to connect to those heterogeneous data sources in one click. And it has automatic metadata discovery and management capability. And together with our low-cost object storage service, OSS, DLA plus OSS can help you quickly set up a data lake solution in a matter of few clicks. And then by integrating both Presto and Spark inside its engine in a serverless manner, Data Lake DLA can offer a low-cost interactive solution for analyzing heterogeneous data sources in a serverless fashion. And then the output can be fed into different BI tools. So that summarized my technical sharing with you today. And please allow me using another 5 minutes, also 5 to 6 minutes, to give you some case studies from our customers. First of all, let me talk about Double 11 within Alibaba. We not only support our customer on Alibaba Cloud, my team also support all the database needs infrastructures inside Alibaba. So this is the real curve from last year, Double 11 in 2019. As you can see, in the very first second of that night, our business workload to the database system has spiked up to 135 times. That's a significant stress on the underlying system and require the underlying system to have excellent elasticity and scalability, which is only possible by using the cloud native solution I have mentioned, combined with many other things I talk about, like being distributed and among other things. Let's look at this customer from our local Indonesian market. This is a coffee distributor, coffee serving company, Kopi Kanagang. So essentially, this company has used our entire solution stack. Their online application, first of all, use PolarDB to deal with their online transaction needs. Then using DTS to real-time synchronize data into our cloud-native data warehouse. In particular, they're using the PostgreSQL version, ADB PG. Then using DataWorks to help with define some of the ETL process, because ADB is able to do both online interactive analytical needs as well as expensive offline batch ETL in one place. Then the output from ADB is fed into Tableau, which is fully compatible with our ADB. And you can actually connect to ADB in Tableau using one click. So this essentially is the whole solution for this customer. And it overcome a lot of complexities such as networking challenges and others. But essentially, they have embraced the whole stack of the cloud native solution as I have introduced. And let's look at another key customer in Indonesia, which is Akulaku, which is a leading fintech company in Indonesian market. So as a fintech company, data availability and data consensus and high availability is a critical need for this company. And what they want to do is using cloud native data warehouse database and cloud native data warehouse solution to lower their operation costs at the same time to ensure business reliability, even when there is a high fluctuation in their business needs. So using PolarDB and DTS and ADB MySQL version, as well as our NoSQL solution, Redis, as the caching layer, they're able to handle burst workload with up to 10 times performance improvement than their traditional solution. And another point I want to mention is by using cloud native solution, their TCO has dramatically reduced because of the elasticity and on-demand, the way of on-demand resource allocation and on-demand billing. The next one is a telecom giant from China, China Telecom. They were traditionally using a large traditional commercial database, which is very costly and not very easy to manage. And they have migrated to our cloud native solution, PolarDB, and in particular, they are using the distributed version of PolarDB. And you can see some of the numbers. As you can see, our system is able to support this massive workload very smoothly for this telecom giant in China. And the next customer I want to share is the top online education vendor. You know, in the COVID-19 pandemic, online education has boomed like never before. And the challenge for those online education vendor is their business model leads to very fluctuated business workload. For example, at night, their workload will spike up, but during the day, when kids are at school, their online education activity for these vendors, because they are outside classroom vendors, might not be that high compared to at the peak time. So what they want to do is having a cloud native solution, being able to elastically allocate the resources they need. So for that reason, they embrace PolarDB for that purpose. Then using DLA, they actually analyze their code data, historical data, to do serverless, low-cost analytical needs. And then for real-time online analytical needs, they are using our ADB, Cloud Native Data Warehouse, connect to their BI tools. Then for extremely cold and warm data, for low-cost long-term storage, they use our NoSQL solution, Lindorm, to provide a quick and cost-effective storage solution for unstructured and semi-structured data. This actually is a win-back customer from AWS. And DLA, diving to DLA, this is a customer, another customer coming from AWS moving to Alibaba Cloud because of DLA. Essentially using the serverless architecture combined with OSS, they're able to tap onto vast amounts of code data using DLA to provide an interactive analytical solution. And with one click, they're able to form a data lake and analyze those heterogeneous data sources. And finally, I want to talk about two customers who migrated from traditional data warehouse, database and data warehouse to our cloud-native data warehouse and database. The first one is a fintech customer in China where they were using Oracle RAC as their data warehouse, but then the cost is simply too high, and they migrate to ADB PG version to use a cloud-native data warehouse to replace their old solution. And their TCO has dramatically reduced because of that. And another key customer I want to talk about is Presma from Malaysia, which is a large e-commerce provider in Malaysia, as you may know. Again, they were using a traditional commercial database, a very large commercial database, and their cost is simply too high. And they were doing this on-premise. And last year, they approached us, and within 2 months, we were able to, with the help of Adam and DTS, we were able to migrate not only their database, but their applications running on top of those databases with a lot of legacy code to PolarDB very smoothly. And ever since then, their core business has been running on PolarDB. Today, if you visit Presto Mall for shopping and for many other things, at the core is our PolarDB solution. And to summarize, in my opinion, the pandemic and the COVID-19 pandemic has dramatically changed the behavior of our society for many industries. We see increasingly more online activities such as what we are doing now. And cloud-native solution is a perfect solution to cater for this more fluctuate, more diverse workloads in the post-COVID-19 business world. Together, we can fight against COVID-19. Let me conclude with efforts from Alibaba in fighting against COVID-19. So we have our DingTalk, we have our image analysis tools. So together, I think we can fight against this pandemic together. And I'm more than happy to answer any question you may have. So I will stop right here. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Fei Fei Li, for that very great presentation out there.